there's been so much change since our conference on the 8th of November. At that point, I think Nigel was of the view that we would form the official opposition to Labour. Now, given we had 50,000 people join our movement over the course of December, I think it's well within the realms of feasibility that we could form a government in Wales. And certainly, in terms of the work I'm undertaking with our colleagues in Reform, we're thinking about, it's not just about being the official opposition, but about forming a government. And we need to be a credible party of government in order to persuade voters that we are the solution to the problems that they face in their everyday lives.
To be a credible member of a government,
yeah,
a party leading government, you need a party structure, and it's not really there at the moment. Does it give us just a sense of what is going on?
Well, no, since conference, it is there. So we've now established branches in each of the Senedd constituencies. They all have officers, they have chairman, deputy chairman, secretary, treasurer, campaigns officer, so all of that's there. We're meeting regularly, policy development forums are being developed.
When will you have a leader in Wales?
Very good question. Nigel is going to play a very big part in the Senedd campaign. Polling we've had undertaken shows his popularity. He's far more popular than the leaders of the other parties in Wales. Our present working principle is that once we have our caucus in the Senedd, once we have our 20, 30 or hopefully 40 members in the Welsh Parliament, they will then select a leader on day one. And hopefully on day two.
Okay, so this is interesting. So there'll be no de facto leader in Wales in the build-up to the Senedd election.
That may well change, because obviously, as we've just discussed, everything has changed so much, even since November. So that may change.
Well, what you're saying at the moment, your head figure will be Nigel Farage because of the recognition. The trouble is, he's not going to be here.
No, he won't be.
Sounds like he's going to be in Florida an awful lot.
He won't be running for the Senedd. Of course he won't be.
No, but he won't even actually physically be in Wales.
But we are a unionist party, and remember, it's the UK and Reform UK, so it's absolutely right and proper that our candidate for Prime Minister in 2028 or 2029 has a big presence in the devolved elections in Wales and Scotland. But you're quite right, he won't be the Reform First Minister if we are successful in winning over the requisite number of voters.
Don't you think you should have a leader in Wales who has got skin in the game, as it were, and is actually fighting to become a member of the Senedd?
Well, I think you can't just appoint somebody to leader and say, Joe Bloggs, you're going to be leader in Wales. That person has to carry the confidence of their colleagues in the Senedd. And because we don't yet know who those colleagues will be, because no one's been elected, you can't decide who the leader standing up in Parliament, leading the Reform group in Parliament, will be unless they can carry the confidence of those people.
We have been here before in Wales, where we've had disruptor parties, led by Nigel Farage in the form of UKIP and the Brexit Party, and because of party ill-discipline, antagonism within the ranks, it really fell apart.
No,
have you learned the lessons?
That group did have many difficulties, and it can't be repeated. It did a disservice to politics and government in Wales, so absolutely lessons have to be learnt from that. So reforming a new party, albeit one that is descended from the Brexit Party, so broadly speaking we are Eurosceptic, although I had plenty of Remainers voting for me in Montgomeryshire, to my surprise actually, but we stand for much more than that, and of course because we're going to have policies which cover the health service, cover primary and secondary state education, adult education, we need to make sure that the group of people we select have the same attitudes towards reform of public services, because that's what the Welsh Government is about.
Well, and on the policy side of things, when are we going to see some policies being fleshed out from you? Because the suspicion is you're a one-trick pony now on policy, and it's immigration.
No, but
that's a dominant thing.
This is totally incorrect. I know it's easy for pundits and journalists and commentators to say, "Oh, you're just the immigration party."
Well, I said that, but I haven't.
I will give you a retort to your question. In Wales has had really very limited levels of immigration, and the immigration we have had arguably has been very positive for our economy. So immigration is much less of a factor in politics in Wales than it is, say, in England.
Well, that's a very different tone that I hear from other Reform Party members.
No, I don't think that's true. The motivations people have for voting reform, my primary motivation is reform of the state, to make sure we grapple with our failing institutions and make them deliver better for the people of Wales. That's what drove me into politics. Yes, immigration, of course, is a huge issue all over the UK, but it's not the only motive for people. You must look past immigration.
Okay.
A broad range of issues for which people feel that we are the answer to their problems.
And are you going to have substantive options available to
absolutely.
actually
Of course, you're talking to the right person, because I'm one of the people that is thinking very deeply about these questions.
And the devolved elections in 2026 will be
Yes,
an
indeed.
opportunity to
So
discuss that, because it is all about the delivery of public services.
Absolutely, and this election is not about immigration. Immigration is not devolved; it's reserved competency to Westminster. The debate that I want to have with the other parties is standards in the health service, standards in our schools, particularly our secondary schools. The fact that we have such appalling PISA scores, the fact that so many Welsh secondary schools don't have a sixth form, so they don't have a strong enough calibre of teacher in our classrooms for those in the GCSE cohort. All of these niche topics that get pushed to one side because people only want to talk to us about immigration or candidates or which rows happening in the Welsh Tories, blah blah blah. Public services is what we need to have the proper debate about.
And finally, we have to talk about Elon Musk.
Yes. How did I know this would be coming up?
Are you going to? Would you be happy to accept his money? Do you think it'll happen?
I think Nigel said everything there is to say about Elon Musk. Obviously, they've had a bit of a tiswas in the past week. I think Elon Musk is a very interesting person. I mean, no one could achieve what he's achieved without being a person of great sophistication. I don't think he should be underestimated. I do think he has legitimate interest in British elections. He is a South African with a Canadian passport and an American passport. He's a Commonwealth citizen. Big money in politics is not new. Having said that, if Musk is to donate to us, it must be lawful, it must be compliant. If the law is changed, which would mean he couldn't donate to us, that's right. We're a party that abides by the rule of law, always.
Oliver Lewis, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much, Nick.